I'm here with Geoff Speechley, Regional Sales Manager, Queensland for SuccessFactors SAP. Good to have you, Geoff.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
I want to ask you the first question on the role of cloud computing. We're at a time of changing environments, changing IT. What's the role of cloud computing that you see?
Cloud computing has actually had a big impact over the last 3 years and will do so for many years to come. Organisations used to have very much their own IT infrastructure, on-premise software, and it was very much largely left to the IT department who was responsible for innovation. What we find is businesses are trying to innovate faster than the IT can keep up. So the ability to be able to be more flexible, more strategic in different business areas is really important to the business to keep it competitive, and also just to allow the business to innovate independently of IT systems.
Do you have a sense of what sort of businesses that are most likely to be affected by cloud now and into the future?
Well, I would have said government was probably a little bit behind, but I've actually found government are actually starting to step up really well.
Do they? Okay.
Queensland government, for example, who came up with a cloud-first sort of policy, and they want software as a service as a driver. And part of that has been because the constraints they've had to work with based on old versions of software and infrastructure, and they're trying to catch up. I find businesses that are moving quickly, wanting to innovate fast, whether it's hotels, hospitality, whether it's a resort, whether it's even places like Horizon, really are trying to actually get onto the forefront and actually get ahead of the game and using IT as a leverage to allow them to innovate better.
What do they see? What do they see as the advantages of cloud?
I might go back a little bit in history and just talk about how on-premise solutions often work. Now, obviously, SuccessFactors is around HR and human capital management and talent management solutions. And in a typical procurement of a ERP system, they tended to get left right at the end. Right, so manufacturing, sales, finance tended to drive a lot of those procurement processes. And only once they were all done did HR sort of get a look in, and oftentimes budget money's gone and all that sort of stuff. And it was very difficult for HR personnel to actually really keep ahead and trying to innovate and actually provide real value to their organisations. The benefits of software as a service type solutions is allow these distinct areas, whether it's CRM, whether it's the chief marketing officer or the chief HR officer, to be able to bring innovative solutions in a far quicker manner to allow them to actually provide value to their organisation and allow for innovation in business processes, getting the strategy out there, for example, into organisations, to have everyone understanding exactly what they are about as an organisation, learning systems, compliance, all of these things that are very much around HR processes. That they can now bring in and actually provide value in a very quick time frame. And cloud does allow you to do that. It allows you to innovate, allows you to be efficient, speed to market, speed to actually deliver real value to organisations is very important to most of the C-level suite.
When you talk about cloud, something that comes with it is its pay-as-you-go subscription model. To the extent that one could say that, look, I no longer need this, I can do without this, or even completely take the suite off. What would make a sustainable SuccessFactors business model in that subscription model?
It's actually up, the onus is actually on the software industry as a whole, and software as a service. If we're not providing value to an organisation, they do have the ability to turn it off. Or switch providers or whatever that happens to be. So those subscription contracts, whatever they happen to be, at some point in time you sit there and saying, actually, this is not doing it for me. And back in the on-premise days, they're stuck with an asset, and oftentimes maintenance and everything that have to still keep paying for something they're not getting value out of. Whereas software as a service is really the onus is on the providers of the software to make sure that their customers are happy customers, because they'll vote with their feet.
So what exactly, for example, would SuccessFactors do to retain the business?
One of the things that we do, and I've done this with a couple of customers around here in Queensland, is we actually have annual reviews to actually understand the value they're getting out of SuccessFactors. And dare I say, we actually have success stories where we've seen business transformation.
Okay.
This is what you were like beforehand. This is what you wanted out of the solution.
Yeah.
And this is the real value that we gave to our organisation.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, HR is often seen as one of those necessary evils in an organisation.
Yeah.
But using the right solutions and providing the right business focus, it can actually provide strategic input and drive real value to the organisation. Increasing revenue, increasing not just employee engagement, but employee engagement means you've got people who are really making a company sing.
Mm-hmm. How is it that SuccessFactors manages its upgrades?
Upgrades is in some regards, is an on-premise thing that's probably a bit of a hangover, because people used to think these big upgrades that used to take months to achieve.
Yeah.
The way SuccessFactors works, we actually provide quarterly updates, where we'll actually go and actually update in the dark their solution. We then provide a very descriptive list of here's all the things that we've tweaked and changed. And there's these mini projects to say, hey, actually we were waiting for that sort of bit of innovation, and customers can then turn that on and actually implement those little pieces of innovation, or big pieces of innovation, depending on the release and area themselves.
How much time are we looking at for that sort of
It depends on the innovation. It can be days, it can be weeks.
Right. So we're not looking at a month.
No. And because the system is always maintained and up to date, it means that you've always got the latest and greatest, and it's, from our point of view, it's actually easier for us as well, because we're only really maintaining one code base. It just makes it, it's not like you're going to get a call that sits there and says, but you're not on the latest version. Everyone's on the same version. It really makes things easier on both sides.
Absolutely. One thing that comes again with the cloud is the sovereignty of data.
Yes.
What's the SuccessFactors approach to that?
Sovereignty of data is really a combined approach. So depending on the country, depending on the organisation, we will actually put the appropriate things in play. We are across 10 countries at the moment. We're increasing that. So we'll have local data centres. We've got local data centres here in Australia, because part of dealing with things like government, they want to make sure that sovereignty and privacy is protected, and so that data doesn't even leave the country. So, that's the easy way to handle it. We're just about to roll out into Russia for the same reason, because the Russian privacy laws says no data shall go beyond our borders. So.
There are also, especially in Australia, there are lots of infrastructure, especially about NBN, is about to roll out in some areas. It's rolled out in others. What's the impact of that kind of national large IT infrastructure? What's the impact of that on cloud?
It actually provides a whole lot of bandwidth that's ultimately going to grow. I think you were talking at one stage to Redlands City Council. One of the biggest challenges they had with cloud is actually provide a double link to that cloud. So they had one link, a Telstra link, that went into their region and into the council where their IT is, but they didn't have a backup link. So straight away, cloud became something that they couldn't actually deploy at that point in time. But something like the NBN actually provides failovers and all sorts of stuff. Good high-speed fibre is a great thing to have. So it actually opens up a whole new lot of opportunities as well.
All right. SuccessFactors in the current form is relatively new to Australia. And what do you see the success of the SuccessFactors in Australia right now?
We've got, we actually recently had a conference down in Sydney just last week, where we had 200 odd customers come along and talk about their success. And that's really a vibrant community that's growing in Queensland and across Australia. We're across quite a few government agencies, started even in Queensland, and that's going to be further deployed. So we see good things happening around SAP and SuccessFactors. Well, as I said, we've also seen that trend of what's in cloud, what's on-premise, and we're seeing that hybrid model approach where people are taking the best of both and really deploying some very interesting scenarios. So, yeah, it's good.
That leads to my last question, that was going to be about the future of cloud. I can understand that, yes, there'll be a hybrid, But do you see an environment where organizations would completely run on cloud? Where would you see the future that we have not seen?
Yeah, look, there's as people approach cloud, one of the things you do is standardizing process and business processes.
Right.
As you implement a cloud solution, it's not what is your process, let's see what we can do to the software to make it work.
Yeah.
On that process, it really is, here's your choice of business processes, which one most closely aligns.
Right.
But there's always some uniqueness in organisation. There's always sometimes a little bit something special that sometimes can be quite a competitive advantage to how they do things. And one of the things SAP has done is actually provided a development environment, also cloud-based, which is really where a customer can build, construct, own everything that's in there and really provide some very much tailoring around that solution. Because in the core SuccessFactors, we're in a multi-tenanted single code base, you don't get to touch the code.
Yeah.
So you need to have some form of hybrid way of, can we have the best of both worlds? Still cloud-based, still as a service, still subscribed to, without the legacy of a big on-premise solution. So it actually provides a bit of best of both worlds, if you like.
And in terms of the security and in terms of the sustainability of data centers, what are the trends that you see?
Look, overall, from infrastructure as a service, beyond just software as a service, we can see that becoming more and more. And purely, as I've mentioned to you before, around providing bigger data centers or bigger servers and being able to slice and dice those, really provides a whole lot of business value to organisation looking for that infrastructure where they can scale up, scale down, be very flexible with how they actually utilise IT. And really, as we utilise IT better, we have less licenses on the shelf, if you like, less hardware that's not being utilised, or just humming along in a room without actually being utilised. It's obviously a far better business model to be fully utilising and paying for only what they use.
Just Speechley, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.